Okay, it is 7 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, June 20th. We are heading into the Boundary Waters. We've been on this gravel road now for about 10 miles, and makes us realize why it takes us over an hour to go about 30 miles. Beautiful sunny day, and we're just petering along this road. We should be getting to our entry point pretty soon. We're going in at entry point 14, Little Indian Sioux River North.
Okay, we just pulled up to Little Indian Sioux Bridge, as you can see. We just got done driving an hour on gravel road to get down here. And this is part of what we're going to be canoeing down in the beginning. However, we still have a couple more miles to get to our entry point. As you can see, this is too rocky for us to put our canoe in. All right, later. Okay, well, we're down here.
I'm parking right here.
And as you can see, there's cars that you could park wherever you need to and then unload. Here we go. So here we are. We're unloading the car. Say hi, Mark.
Hey everybody.
Where are you?
I am at entry point 14, Little Indian Sioux River North, on the far northwestern side of the Boundary Waters. And we are getting ready to head out for our first adventure in a very long time. First adventure for Tammy. June 20th, 2023.
There you go. Thank you. And I just took our day packs down the trail to the river. It's quite the incline. Okay, and this is where we parked. One more reminder, it took us about an hour down gravel road to get here. All right, toodaloo.
Okay, we just launched a few minutes ago on Little Indian Sioux, entry point 14. We're all loaded with our gear, food, cooking supplies, tent, etc. for a week in the Boundary Waters. First portage was 65 rods. It wasn't the distance that really got to us, it was more just the carrying of stuff and organizing it all into the canoe. Doesn't look super organized, and hopefully we'll get better as our portages go on. Beautiful sunny day. We're still in the Little Indian Sioux River. As you can see, we're starting to drift into shore, so I'm going to stop talking. Tammy's in the bow, I'm in the stern. How about a little wave, Tammy? Okay, we're at our first full portage after the initial put in at Little Indian Sioux. This is still the Little Indian Sioux River, and we're going to be portaging around some falls. So here's our takeout area. Great sandy landing, very easy to unload the canoe. And the landing on the other side is a little mucky, but still a great landing. We've already taken the canoe and our small gear across. We're still doing double portages. We might be able to do singles, but they'd be a killer. This way it's two easy portages. And this is basically just a walk in the woods. Mosquitoes aren't bad enough to need head nets yet, but I did spray all of our garments with this stuff that so far seems to be doing a decent job. And I'll just go a little further on the trail and you can get a better view of actually what we had to portage around. But like I said, it's just a gentle uphill, pretty much walk in the woods. This is another 65 rod portage, by the way. And just about the time you start to come down hill, if we look to our right, there's a clearing up ahead where we'll see it a little bit better. Here's the waterfall. Not a huge fall, but it shows you how clean the water is. And I'll tell you, it's already in the low 80s, and that pool is looking awfully inviting. Who knows, we might get our gear reloaded in the canoe at the put-in point at the end of the portage, and maybe come back for a nice refreshing swim in that pool. We'll see. Okay, here we are, end of day one. We are on Lower Paw Nest Lake, which is more or less where I wanted to end the first day. It's a smaller lake. I think it's about 180 acres, something like that. Fairly deep. It gets down to about 40 feet. It's supposed to be a good walleye lake, and you can see right at the edge of our campsite, we've got this sheer rock drop-off, and there are some shallower spots around where we pulled in with our canoe. I'm just going down a path to show you where we pulled in. The only drawback to this campsite is there is no good place to land the canoe or unload it. We did that over on the other side, actually right down where you see that little sliver of rock in the water. That's where we pulled our canoe in. We have our canoe up on shore now. It's doubtful that we'll be going out in the canoe for evening fishing tonight. We might, we'll see. But I think we'll be able to fish right off our shore, because we can get out to probably 20-25 feet of depth, and we've got steep drop-offs, gradual drop-offs. This bay, there are 3 campsites on this lake. We checked out 2 of them. The other site had easier access for the canoe. It just wasn't that great of a site. I'm going to walk back up to our site and show you what we're at here. There's no one else on this lake. We've got the whole lake to ourselves. Here's our fire pit that we can't use because of the fire ban that happened or started about a week ago. And then we've got a few different paths that go back to different tent pad areas, and I'll just show you one of them. Here's one potential site for a tent. Fairly flat, fairly level, plenty big for our tent. This probably wouldn't be a great site for a group of 9, but it's Tammy and I. And as of right now, we have the whole lake to ourselves. So we're going to relax for a little bit. Then we're going to set up our tent and take it from there. I will be fishing this evening, hopefully catching some dinner fish. But overall, a real nice site. We're set up in the shade because right now it's in the mid 80s, and sunny and beautiful. Done canoeing for day one. Again, we're on Lower Pawness, have the lake to ourselves, and right now I'm facing pretty much north. Okay, day two on our Boundary Waters trip 2023. We camped last night on Lower Pawness, and again, rather beautiful. We were woken up pretty early this morning by a couple of jags playing the trumpet, and I think, yeah, there the culprits are, right there. Pair of trumpeter swans, pretty cool. They've been hanging around in this kind of shallow or weedy area, but now they're heading out to explore the deeper water, which we're going to be doing shortly after breakfast. Trolling for walleyes, jigging for walleyes, trying to get dinner. As you can see, it's a beautiful, sunny, cloudless day. Slight breeze. Far end of the lake is the Portage, right by what appears to be a sandy area, but that's actually rocks. Right in that area there's a portage to Devil's Cascade, and it continues on to the Little Indian Sioux River, which leads into Loon Lake. For today, we're going to be hanging out here, fishing, just exploring this lake, and we might take a portage. I don't even think you can see the portage point from here, but it's somewhere along there that leads over to Shell Lake. We'll decide that later today, and our plans for tomorrow are still up in the air. Really hard to plan when this is what you're looking at.
The waterfalls off the portage from our lake.
What's our lake?
I forget.
Lower Pawness.
There we go, Lower Pawness.
And what's this waterfall called?
I couldn't tell you. Lower Pawness waterfall, which leads into the river.
This is the famed Devil's Cascade. Everybody says if you are coming by this area in the Boundary Waters, it's well worth the stop. I think I would trade half a cup of coffee for this. Not as spectacular as I thought it would be. It's just a somewhat small waterfall. Doesn't look like we'll be going down to that pool for a swim as we had planned, unless we're going to be mountain goats to get back up. Anyway, this is part of the Little Indian Sioux River, which is where we actually entered from. We came through the Little Indian Sioux, made it to Upper Pawness, portaged into Lower Pawness, where we spent last night, and we just did a little day paddle and short hike over here to see the falls, because again, it's shouldn't miss it if you're here. And you can see the Little Indian Sioux River continues on that way, and eventually that would lead to Loon Lake. We had briefly discussed possibly doing it, and I'm not ruling it out, but I'm also certainly not going to push really hard for that direction should we decide to move. Again, Devil's Cascade. There it is. We'll probably hang out here for a little bit, have some water, and then head back to the canoe which we left on Lower Pond S. I'll do a little bit of fishing and then head back to our camp. Okay, we are on the Shell Lake side of the portage between Lower Pond S and Shell. Other than being mucky, it's a decent entry point. It's about a 210 rod portage total. I'm going to video the first half going from Shell back to Lower Pond S. My wife Tammy and I decided to check out this portage today. We ended day one on Lower Pond S, stayed there for the day, and we're contemplating moving on to Shell, but we wanted to check out the portage. So here's the second half of the portage. It's basically just a walk in the woods. There's some tree roots and rocks to look out for, and I'm not going to talk the whole way on this portage, but you know, this is what I would describe as a slightly hilly walk in the woods. No obstacles really that you have to worry about until you get to the halfway point. And that's why Tammy is actually not with me on this half of the portage. Oh, I was talking to the camera. Here's Tammy. She decided to cross the beaver pond at approximately the halfway point. There is a beaver pond right in the middle of the portage.
There is a beaver pond. And a mother duck and her ducklings.
Okay, we're back on the portage again from Shell Lake to Lower Pond S. I started videotaping this section of the walk, and then Tammy surprised me by joining me. So we're pretty close to the halfway point, and you can see at the halfway point there's this little mucky area because of this fairly large beaver pond, and there are four lodges on that pond, so quite the extended family of beavers. And when I came across, I waded that. Not too big a deal. The water's up to probably mid-thigh. But if you've got a canoe on your shoulders and it's slippery and there are some logs and such in there, it does get interesting. The question again.
So how much muck is in the muck pond?
The beaver pond is muck up to not there. We can see the muck line.
No, it passed my knee and up to here.
The water was up to the thighs. The muck was only up to the knees.
Muck.
But no sense in quibbling about a few inches when it comes to muck. Muck is muck.
So, wearing boots is not going to protect you there.
No, you're going to get mucky. Okay, we just finished portaging from Lower Pond S to Shell. 216 rods. And here's our canoe and all of our gear. You know, when we packed, I had visions of doing this in a single portage. No, that's not even close to happening. We did it. It was hard, but we made it.
Yay!
And now we are hoping that the campsite on the other side of that island is open. I'm going to get out my map, double check to make sure I know where we're going. And just like on the other side, we enter through muck. But we get out to the lake pretty quick, and then it'll be fine.
Alright, we left rain all the way, and now look at the sun is coming through. We are in Mercer, Wisconsin. We left evening, right? So 5 hours later.